Bonjour mes amis, c'est moi, Patsy, Unique P, et bienvenue sur ma chaîne pour une autre vidéo. For those of you who are new here, bienvenue fashionista. Here we talk about all things black fashion, lifestyle, travel, et je parle un peu le français. If you haven't already, give your girl a thumbs up, like, share, and bien sûr, subscribe. Aujourd'hui video is part of my travel and lifestyle video, and we're here with Global Gyal, as she's known across the internet. Her name is Alyssa Derrick, and we're just gonna have a little chat with her today about her experience traveling, her reason for taking this opportunity to see the rest of the world, and just have a little girl conversation. So, if this is something you're interested in seeing, let's get talking. Welcome, Alyssa, to Black Fashion.
Merci. Thank you so much. I like the French aspect of it. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I actually got introduced to your platform last year Carnival when I went to the Duckwork
Yes.
set, and I knew from before because actually you and my daughter who is overseas went to the same ballet
Oh,
classes
ballet,
together.
yes.
Yes, you were older than her. You would have been in the class with Celine
Yes,
Senhouse and
yes,
them,
yes.
and she would have been in the much younger classes. But we lost contact. But then last year, somebody said, "Oh, that is the girl that travels around the world." I said, look at how life has really evolved.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, my daughter would have just left for Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have my channel as yet. I started my channel in October because I saw a need for us to focus a little bit more on black designers, and I, knowing that I have a fellow local in the industry of YouTubing, I said I have to talk to you and get to know your history and your story behind your YouTube channel. So, could you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about you and why you travel far from home?
Yeah, that's broad. Well, hello everybody. How are y'all doing? As she said, my name is Alyssa Derrick, but I go by the name of Global Gyal online. And I'm a Caribbean girl who travels the world. I move to a new country every year. I've been doing it since 2018. And right now, I think it's been 6 years. And I've lived in 5 different countries on 4 different continents of the world.
Wow.
So if I had to summarize myself, that's what I do. I'm a full-time traveler, part-time, anything else.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fascinating. Which 5 countries have you lived in?
I've lived in New Zealand, Australia, Ghana, Colombia, and now Bali, Indonesia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You going back to Bali or you here for a while?
I'm going back to Bali. So this year was the year that I got to do Asia.
Okay.
And because of COVID, my original plan, which was live in a different continent each time in 2020, the continent was Asia. But because of COVID, I didn't get to.
Okay.
So in 2024, I said I'm going to do Asia. But again, I had a time plan. So in any event, I decided to do 6 months of traveling, 6 months of living in one country. After doing 2 months in Bali, I was like, I love it here. So I came home at this point in time, and now I'm going back to do 8 more months, roughly. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but it'll be roughly a year on that continent or in that region of the world. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what was the push that made you want to start this to begin with?
Want to start traveling?
Yeah.
So it was definitely when I was at university. I went to university in Toronto, Canada, and I went to the 3rd largest university in Canada. It's called York University, and I had a population of 52,000 students. And I thought about that and I said, this school is half the size of my island, my country. And I saw a map. It was a map of the world, and I tried to find Antigua. Anybody from a small island, small country, know the struggle. It may or may not be on the map.
Just a dot.
Exactly. If it is, it's just a dot. And I saw Canada. It's huge, and just where I was, the experiences I was getting. A lot of international students at the school. And I realized I'm meeting people from all over the world, and I would love for them to come visit my country. I would love to go visit theirs. And it just made me realize the world is a lot bigger and maybe not as scary as we assume. So just me going and living in Canada for that length of time showed me, maybe I could do this. And so also when I was at university, one of my aunts pushed me. It was in my first year, and we got so many different pamphlets from different places, and one was to do study abroad.
Okay.
And I was telling my aunt that, and she was like, you should definitely do that. And I thought that was a good way to enter into travel like that. Never got to do it, but I made up my mind that when I graduated university, I'd do it. So between that was kind of the combination. I took that trip. It was like a solo after school trip, first solo major trip to South Africa, Dubai, and I did a bit of the US, and I did Barbados at the end, and that kind of solidified it for me. I said, I love this travel life. I love this, everything about it. I'm gonna move to New Zealand in 2 years. And so eventually I did. I moved to New Zealand, packed up my bags by myself, went, and again, it just solidified. I was 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks into my travels of New Zealand, I was on a hop-on, hop-off bus where you sign up for it and you pay one price and it'll carry you all around New Zealand. And you can decide how long you want to stay in this town. They guarantee you a spot in the hostels. I was doing hostel living. And yeah, about a week and a half into that trip, I just looked around the people I was meeting, the things I was doing. I said, I want to do this. How can I do this for the rest of my life? How can I make money from this? I don't know how, but I'm going to figure it out. And kind of just grew from there. Created a blog to update my family about what I was doing. From that, people were like, you should do a vlog. So that's how I started YouTube.
Oh,
okay. And in New Zealand, I was constantly meeting travelers, and one of my friends, who's actually from St. Vincent, Canada, via St. Vincent, like her family's from St. Vincent, she was like, well, you should go to Australia. I had no interest in going to Australia. But then I was like, all right, I guess I could go for 3 months before I head back home. Went for 3 months. Well, I intended to go for 3 months, and I got a job as a living nanny and au pair with a family that I met through Facebook. Never met them before in my life. And after the first 2 weeks with them, I was like, can I stay a year? And they said, hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
Stayed a full year. COVID caught me over there. Stayed almost another year. And it was in Australia where I decided I'm in this continent on the other side of the world that I never imagined I would go to. How far can I push this? Like, can I live in a different country on a different continent? And so I guess challenged myself to do that. And I said, why not? And when I started, I was 24, turning 25. So I told myself, give yourself up until 30. Take 5 years. Do this vlogging thing, do this travel thing, and if it is at a place when you're 30 where you're making money from it and you're sustaining yourself comfortably, then continue to see where it goes. If not, then you have 5 years of memories. And so that is, I guess, the long story short of me and traveling and creating. And I moved to Ghana, then I moved to Colombia, and now I'm doubling back to do Asia, because I was supposed to leave Australia, go to Asia. I had my ticket booked and everything. Didn't get to. So now I'm like, I owe it to my 25, 26-year-old self to do this.
Yes. It's part of your journey.
Yeah.
That is such a cool story. And you are living a life that in the 21st century, a lot of us who are now in our 50s, we used to call it, we'll go backpacking across Europe or across the US. And this is something that we always had a desire to do. But a lot of us, then we started to work, family came, and the chances just went out the window. But I am now learning that even in our 50s, that you don't give up on your dreams. There's always the opportunity. If you really want to do it, there's always some mechanism that you can do it.
Yes.
And I really admire your bravery and wanting to do this. And I think what you're doing is commendable. What I'm curious about is, what was life like in Australia during the pandemic?
Yes. And I before I answer that question, I did want to say that it's because of your generation why I'm able to do what I'm doing. I've realized that each generation faces its own challenges and its own conditions, and you're taught you have to do certain things. And I feel like for your generation, it was you go, you get a good job, you have a family, you do that, and that's what my parents would have done. But without that foundation, I would not have had the stepping stone to now do what I'm doing. So I feel like I meet a lot of people in that generation, and before I was even going, they gave me such encouraging words. They said, you have little to no responsibilities, go. And if I did not receive those positive words and that positive energy, I may or may not have taken the leap. I may or may not have felt as confident to do it. So I do see, and I've always wanted to say this, like, applaud the efforts of people who have done what they needed to do so that I'm an example of living a life that they may have wanted. But I also agree with you that it's never too late. It's you put in the hard work. It's now your time to reap the benefits and go travel the world and do those dreams that you wanted, that you felt like you might have had to put on pause for whatever responsibilities or things in life that came your way. So now to answer your question of what life was like in Australia during the pandemic, it was quite interesting, and because I was there from January, February, I traveled to New Zealand briefly in February and I came back, and that's when it started on that side of the world. Okay. And so it felt like I was living in the future. It's like 15 hours ahead of everywhere. So it felt like that for the pandemic, for everything. When America, Antigua, everywhere else on the western side of the world was running out of toilet paper, we ran out of toilet paper like 2 months earlier. Wow. And we were watching out like, they're now going through the toilet paper issue, So, however, Australia was also very
curious about that toilet paper thing.
Right? I don't know. I could have told y'all it was going to happen. But it all started a bit earlier. It's geographically located closer to China. Australia has heavy Chinese tourists, so the borders were shut a lot earlier. The bubbles, the restrictions, you can't leave your house at a certain time type of thing I went through that very early compared to people on the western side of the world. So they were very, very strict with it, and I knew at that point I was like, I'm not going to be able to leave. Luckily, the family was like, of course you can stay with us. It's a no-brainer. So I felt quite comfortable. I felt like I was very lucky to be in that situation. And so the beginning was tough. We had all the restrictions. However, I think by the time the western side of the world was enforcing their restrictions and shutting down airports and stuff like that, Australia was kind of opening back up. Not to the world, but to Australians. Okay. So we could still go to events or the movies or that kind of stuff when the rest of the world was in lockdown. So it just felt like I had that experience a bit earlier, but they were constantly, even when I left, opening and closing and the restrictions and whatnot. So, but I was living with the family, the Hermans, shout out to the Hermans, and we had a great time. We entertained ourselves in the house for sure. So yeah, that was what life was like in Australia during the pandemic.
Cool. And what is your plans now when you return to Asia? You said that you're going to be there for another 8 months, and what's your next journey after that?
So after Asia, well, I'm going to be there for 3 months, and then I leave to go to Thailand. So I have a group tour coming up. It's my first official.
Yes, I saw you advertising.
Yes, my first official group tour. So if anybody wants to travel with me, you can still book until September 23rd to Thailand. Please take advantage of it. Once you are open to experiencing and learning the cultures, come through. And so I'll be traveling a bit around the Asian area and stay in Bali until June. And then after that, I think I'm going to take the next 6 months. They're just places, like things I need to do, family or family friend stuff. Wedding in this country, or, you know, that kind of stuff. Friends who I haven't seen in years. My best friend that I met in Toronto, she was my first roommate. I haven't seen her since her wedding in 2018.
Oh, wow.
So I left Antigua, I went to Canada for her wedding, and then I moved to New Zealand. So I haven't seen her since I've started all these travels. And so I'm saying it on camera so I can hold myself accountable. I'd really like to go visit her. She has 2 kids now I've never met. And so I think I'm going to take the second half of the year to kind of make my way back to Antigua, but hop around a bit. And then the following year, while still doing another tour, I'm going to do a tour to Bali next year, August, so keep an eye out for that, a group trip there. Then the year after that, I'm going to say it on camera so I can hold myself accountable. I want to do the Caribbean. I want to go and hop to every single Caribbean country and visit. And I want to do it in 6 to 8 months, like spend a week in each country. Ideally, what I would like to do is start in Bermuda and work my way down, but I know the plane routes, I'm going to have to be multiple and everywhere. But we'll see. But I want to touch every single Caribbean country because I feel like, okay, I've tackled and I've shown people, and people have come along with me in exploring the world, but I want to explore our backyard. I feel like we're so close. On a clear day, you can see Guadeloupe, you can see Montserrat, you can see St. Kitts and Nevis. But I haven't been to some of those countries before, and I feel like we're so similar but so different. And I want to see what it's like, and I want to show, and I want people to come along with me, and I want to go lineman, and I want to do everything. So I want to explore the Caribbean. So that's what's next after Indonesia, Asia. Come home, explore home.
That's cool. Actually, my video that I did, my first video I did in January after I started, I had done a couple of videos before I was introducing myself officially to my platform, and that is one of the things that I said I want to do. I want to live in every country across the globe at least 1 week.
You want to spend every country across the globe 1 week. That's amazing.
In every country. That is my goal.
Yes.
And like you, I'm saying it online, so I hold myself accountable. Before I leave this mortality, I want to live my dream. Like I was telling your dad, it has always been my desire to live outside of Antigua. And after starting traveling and seeing Europe and constantly going to the US, haven't seen much of the Caribbean, haven't seen all of Europe, haven't seen all of the US. I really want an opportunity to actually get around the places that I haven't seen and really get to see it. And you mentioned that, you know, our backyard around us in the Caribbean region is so close but so similar. I can tell you, I'm not sure if you've been to Guadeloupe.
Never.
Guadeloupe is 20 minutes, literally 20 minutes away from us. And I can, from my experience, I've been there a couple of times. It is a completely different culture, completely different environment. My first time I went for a weekend, I was culture shocked. It's very, very Creole, very French, very Haitian. It's all of that French Carib mix together, and I found that so interesting. Even more so when they were here for Carnival last week. I was in my happy place, just seeing them and how they celebrate Carnival different to how we celebrate. And I think that's an opportunity. It's something that I keep telling my audience. Everybody should get the opportunity to travel at least once in their life, to see outside of their comfort zone. I think it would really change our perspective on how we see each other. We are very different, but very similar.
Yes.
At the same time.
Yes. Human beings in general, you know, for sure. I 1000% agree with that. And that's why I choose to travel and in the way that I do. And I'm happy that I'm able to share and people are interested in watching, because I feel like travel is a great educator and a great way to help people to change their mindsets. And I feel like that will make a huge impact in the long run.
Absolutely. And where you said your best friend you haven't seen in some years, how does your travel affect your family and your friendship relationships?
It definitely does. However, I must applaud everybody from my family to my close friends to maybe not as close friends. Everybody has been very supportive and very understanding and very accommodating, because sometimes it would be, we're trying to have a call, but there's a 15-hour time difference. So a lot of scheduling, no, I can't make it at that time. That's 2 o'clock in the morning by me or whatever it is. I'm grateful for social media and how it has grown and progressed over the years. When I was going to university, I still used a calling card, which is nothing compared to what other people used to use. And I can remember, might be slightly aging myself, when WhatsApp got calling, and that was the biggest deal. But now you can video chat. So I think with technology, it's made a whole heap of a difference with it. So, but however, I do think it's patience. It's just them being accommodating, me being accommodating. And I think I just have really good people in my corner. Love y'all so much, to who are supportive and who give me the grace and are, like, spread your wings and fly. And it's okay if we don't talk every day or every couple of months, but it does take work. Any relationship takes work, but all of them, my immediate family, my distant family, my close friends, we put in work to ensure that I can still call my friend my best friend, up there, or, my sister and I were still as close. I speak to both my parents almost every day. Again, but it's the advancement of technology, so it has affected it. It has brought some challenges, but I have great people in my corner, and we'll put in the work to do it, to maintain it.
As you're speaking there about aging yourself, I'm laughing in my head. I said, but look at her, she's half my age. We're talking about she ages herself. What about the days when you had a ring phone?
There we go.
Or you had to go to a phone booth to call somebody overseas. So yes, we have come a long way, and like you said, relationships take work. I myself, I'm in a long distance relationship for now 5 years, and it does take a lot of work, a lot of scheduling, a lot of understanding.
Yes.
So, we learn from each other, because, like I said, I got into this with an idea in mind. I knew it wasn't going to blow up right away, and it hasn't blown up as much as I would love to see it, but I know it will get there. But I'm staying consistent, I'm staying disciplined, and hopefully word and the stories that I want to share will get to where they need to get and can change somebody else's perspective. Just like you and others across the internet have changed my perspective. So, Alyssa, is there anything you would like? You've invited us to come and travel with you to Thailand and to Bali next year. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us before we close off?
I would say, well, definitely follow me on all social media platforms. Don't hesitate to get engaged, so Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm trying to revive my YouTube channel. I feel like I haven't been focusing as much on it. So working on that. So definitely do that. If you are interested in travel, feel free to reach out. If you're interested in visiting Antigua, I have guides. If you'd like a shirt, I got shirts. But I guess I just want to say, if you ever had any dream or want or anything to travel, and I guess not just travel, but whatever it was that you wanted to do when you were younger, see how you can figure out a way to start. I think the important thing is to start. You get caught up in your head a lot, but don't just be a thinker, become a doer. And even if it's very, very small, I tell people might be like, oh, I want to travel just like you, but I don't have any money, or I can't do this, or I'm just not in a space to do it, because there's so many factors that are there to prevent that. And I think the biggest thing about travel is just putting yourself in an uncomfortable space.
Yes.
Out of your comfort zone. And so I tell people, it could be something as simple as you're walking home from work and you take the same route every day. Take a different route. Take a left turn instead of the right. Going on a street you've never been on before. That is a baby step, but a step in the right direction of putting yourself out there, challenging yourself. You don't know what this looks like, and it sparks something up in your brain. And so little you save little. If you can't leave the country, maybe you can rent a little place for a weekend on the other side of the island. That alone is going to help you, and it's going to give you like, oh, I like this, and see if you like it. But it could be for travel, it could be for anything else. Just do it. Satisfy that inner child in you, and take advantage of it, because life is short.
Yes.
Life is short. And that's another thing that I wanted to see is, there was a point in time in my travels where, in that first solo trip, I decided I could either travel when I'm retired and I have the money, or when I'm now young and I have the time. And I didn't want my life to pass by and I don't know if I'm going to make it to that point to then travel. And I said, let me do it now while I'm younger, while I have the ability to go hike Machu Picchu, or go do this other ridiculous thing, or even just take 3 days to get to another country on the other side of the world. So do it, because you just don't know, you just don't know. And better to live your life now, in whatever big or small way, once it's in the way that you want. So that's what I would like to leave with you.
Yeah, and quickly, a point that we didn't touch on, you work remotely. Is that from Antigua you are working, or you're working online remote opportunities?
So a bit of both. It's all online remote work opportunities, but because of the field that I started out as my hobby, and I guess still kind of is, which is creating content and video editing and blog writing and stuff, that gave me the opportunity to use those skills to apply to job opportunities. And so right now I do user-generated content, so UGC, which is small businesses. You may have your phone, you're taking pictures, you're taking videos, but you don't know how to make them into a reel, you don't know what's trending, that kind of stuff. I'm your girl for that. So I do that with a digital marketing firm here. They have clients, and they're like, you're fully remote, that's perfectly fine, we'll record. I come up with the ideas, they record, they send it to me, I edit. So that's in Antigua, but I do have, I guess, other clients who are in different places that I work with as well. So one client is in Ghana / Canada. It's a Ghanaian Canadian company, and I worked with them when I was in Ghana, and I kept with them. I write a blog for them and do their Instagram posts. And then I just got another gig, another client that's in the US, and I do more user-generated content for them. So they just send me their stuff, I edit it, and I send it back.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's what I do to sustain myself, and then whatever things I'm working on Global Gyal to build it where I don't have to rely on that. I can create an income to sustain my travels, because right now all my income goes into my travels. So any shirt that you buy, or any trip that you get on, or any guide that you purchase, or if you just subscribe and watch my YouTube videos, all of that helps me to continue doing what I'm doing and sharing my stories with you.
Awesome. Well, Alyssa, thank you so very much for spending some time with us. I've learned so much. Every time I do an interview, you guys hear me say that I learn a lot because it's good to have conversations with people and not just people of your own age group or demographic, but just across your life spectrum. The stories that I hear and the stories that I want to share, I want them to be meaningful to someone in some small way. So, thank you again. And guys, thank you for spending another beautiful evening with me. Until I see you in the next one, have a wonderful week, everybody. A bientôt. Au revoir.
Bye.
À
Au
tout à l'heure.
revoir.